Hello, this is Hwansan Sunim, and welcome to our program. Recently, this year actually, my students whom I teach at various universities in Seoul, both international and Korean, these students have been asking me to share with them teachings about how sun meditation might help them to develop their hidden talent, to discover and cultivate their total potential. And what I sensed in hearing their request is that they're not asking for this just to get a competitive advantage, just so that they can compete better to get jobs or to get higher grades or to win or to become, quote, a success. What I was very gratified to see and feel was that they really were interested in developing themselves as human beings, to grow and to evolve and to really find out how much they can be in life. So I was very happy to hear this. And so it is with great pleasure that I am able to announce the theme for today's episode. For today's episode, we will consider the question, how can sun meditation help me to discover and cultivate my inner talent, my total potential? What my teacher, Sun Master Songdam, always says in his Dharma speeches is that the first step, the most important step in undertaking any endeavor, is to be able to believe in yourself. He always says that each of us, every single human being, every single living being, in fact possesses this infinitely luminous, infinitely wise, so-called Buddha nature. But as I said, not all of the people who come out for these teachings and practices are necessarily Buddhist. So how, if I am not a religious person, how can I, objectively speaking, convincingly believe in myself after I've already been living in society or in a university for a long time and feel like I've already encountered some of my limitations? So what I would like to say, and I have said this before on the program, is don't try to believe in yourself as an individual. Don't try to believe that you, as one human being among 7 billion on this planet, that you somehow are the smartest, or somehow are the most amazing, or somehow are the most charming and attractive. That doesn't make sense to try to do that. We will always be insecure because we always know there are 7 billion other people out there. Someone out there is much better. Instead of thinking that way, try to believe in the human being, the amazing potential of the human being, of every human being that lives on this planet, of every healthy human being. Neuroscientists now believe that there are something like 100 billion or more neurons or nerve cells in the human brain. And among these 100 billion nerve cells or neurons, they believe there is somewhere between 100 trillion and several thousand trillion connections between these neurons, pathways by which these neurons can relay information to one another. So it's become almost a cliche these days to say that there are more neural connections in the average human being than there are stars in the universe. Our brain alone is somehow a living universe unto itself. We can call upon ourselves to believe in that universe that is contained within our own brain. That's what we can ask ourselves to do, to believe in the human brain, which of course every one of us owns, to believe in the human nervous system. And then we can believe in the power of the human mind that is connected to the human brain. So why don't we listen to the Dharma speech of my teacher, Sun Master Songdam, as he teaches us, he tells us about the amazing power of the human mind.
삼계 진로 여해화라야 무금 요괄괄이로구나 진향자가 십념생이라 일념불생 토해탈이니라 삼계 진로 여해활이라. 욕계, 색계, 삼계의 진로가, 생사 진로가, 생사 흥망성쇠 생로병사의 모든 문제가 바다와 같다 그 말이야. 막 넓기가 바다와 같고 그 깊기가 바다와 같고 잠시도 쉬는 시간이 없이 파도에 큰 파도, 작은 파도가 수없이 일어나는 그와 같다 그 말이야. 무고 무금 요괄괄이여 옛도 없고 이제도 없다 그 말이야. 옛부터서 지금까지 한결같이 시끄럽고 복잡하고 그렇다 그 말이야. 이것은 우리가 인생 이 세상에 태어나서 오늘날까지 첫째 자기 일생 문제에 관해서 생각해 보면 그 틀림없다고 하는 것을 느끼게 될 것이고, 자기 가정 문제를 생각해 봐도 그럴 것이고, 이웃 문제를 생각해 봐도 그럴 것이고, 사회 문제를 생각해 봐도 그럴 것이고, 국가와 세계의 문제를 생각해 봐도 틀림없이 크고 작은 차이는 있을지언정 이와 같을 것이다 그 말이야. 그러면 그러한 흥망성쇠와 생로병사와 생주이멸 끝없이 일어났다 꺼졌다 하고 하는 그런 상황이 왜 일어나냐 하면은 이유가 다른 데에 있는 것이 아니라 진향자가 십념생이다. 다 자기의 마음에서 일어나는 것이다. 왜 나는 가만히 있어도 세상이 시끄럽고, 나는 가만히 있어도 나라가 시끄럽고, 나는 가만히 있어도 세계 도처에 전쟁이 일어나고 뭐다 야단이죠. 왜? 나의 생각 때문에 나의 생각 때문에 그러냐? 어찌 생각하면 합당치 않은 말로 들릴는지 모르지만 세계가 뒤집어지거나 엎어지거나 자기가 동한 바가 없고 자기의 마음에 움직인 바가 없으면 아무 상관이 없을 것이다 그 말이에요. 그런데 자기가 그것을 보고 듣고 느낌으로 해서 그런 상황을 자기한테 와서 그것이 부딪히는 거고, 과거로 무량겁으로부터 모든 것이 자기의 일념을 근본으로 해서 온 세계가 벌어진 것이다 그 말이에요. 호수에서 돌 한 개를 던짐으로 해서 그 파도가 물결이 일어나 가지고 저 호수 저 가에까지 미쳐가듯이 자기의 한 생각이 우주 법계의 중심이기 때문에 그렇다고 말이에요. 자기가 있음으로 해서 세계가 있고 자기가 있음으로 해서 법계가 있는 것이고 보면 법계는 바로 자기로부터 나온 것이고 자기를 중심으로 해서 벌어지는 것이 바로 이 세계다 그 말이에요. 이것은 부처님께서 이러한 도리를 분명하게 말씀을 해 주셨다고 말이에요. 수행이 옅은 사람은 이런 말이 가슴속 깊이 와서 닿지 않을런지도 모르나 수행을 자꾸 하다 보면은 이 말씀이 틀림이 없다고 하는 것을 깨닫게 될 것입니다. 온 세계가 복잡하고 흥망성쇠가 있고 희로애락이 있는 것은 자기 마음으로부터 벌어진 것이기 때문에 자기 한 생각을 단속해서 일어나지 않도록 한 생각이라 하는 것이 본래 남이 없다고 하는 진리를 깨닫고 보면 이 흥망성쇠 속에서 영원히 흥망성쇠와 생로병사가 없는 열반 안락의 경지에 들어갈 것이고 흥망성쇠가 없는 세계에 자기 한 몸이 주인공이 될 때가 있을 것이다 그 말이에요.
This is an exceptionally profound Dharma speech, as short as it is. Because in this Dharma speech, Sun Master Songdam has shared with us a description of the relationship between our mind and external reality, between our individual selves and the entire universe. Sun Master Songdam tells us that the universe, what we see around us, is a manifestation of our own mind, that the mind produces the entire universe. Now, if that's the case, then it stands to reason that all the information and knowledge in the universe is actually coming from within ourselves, that we ourselves are the source and root of all of that knowledge and information, and therefore we have access to it. And this becomes the basis for the Buddhist belief in the infinite human potential. Now, as a non-Buddhist, if we hear this statement, this teaching from Sun Master Songdam, we may begin to ask and doubt. We may say, well, you know, that's a religious statement, and modern-day scientists still don't really know the relationship between human consciousness and physical reality. You know, how can I believe this? How can I rely on this teaching when there is no proof, when there is no empirical proof of the truth of these kinds of teachings? So that's a very, very important, I think, issue that's raised in the modern world. And what Sun Master Songdam tells us is that we have to look within ourselves. If we can just look deeply within ourselves, we would know that this is true, that the source of all things is within our own hearts and minds. The mind is the creator of reality. I think that at this time in history, we stand at a crossroads. We need to make a choice about what we believe about human beings and human ability. On the one hand, we can believe that human beings are inherently limited, that our power to understand is inherently limited, that our power to do things, to change ourselves, to transform ourselves, to grow and evolve, that all of these things are limited. Whether we realize it or not, this current scientific culture of technology is telling us that we are limited, that the human mind is too weak, you know, and not smart enough to understand the universe, and so we need computers. The human body is too weak, too frail, and so we need machines to help us. And currently, our lives are completely filled with devices and tools and electronic hardware that are all designed supposedly to make up for the inherent inadequacy of the human mind and body, the human brain and body. But let's think about the implications of that. the more we rely on machines and technology, the less we're motivated and inspired to explore our own unique human capability. This is something that I think we really need to think about. I'm not saying that we should reject technology and live, in nature like animals, like in some kind of primordial situation. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that we need to change our attitude about what human beings are capable of. So there is that temptation to believe in this day and age that the human mind and body are inadequate and limited and too weak to really do what we need to do. The second choice, however, I think is offered by, among other traditions and institutions, Sun Buddhism. Sun Buddhism totally believes in the power and potential of the naked human being. We can go the other way. We can choose to believe that human potential is infinite, that the potential of the human mind is infinite, the potential of the human body is infinite, and we can choose to explore and try to discover. We can take on the attitude of an explorer crossing the ocean for the first time. This is a decision that we need to make at the level of our heart, not with our brains, not by looking at the available evidence and figuring things out on the theoretical level and saying, well, I'm going to bet on this option based on the available information. We have to, I really believe, look within ourselves as Sun Master Songdam advises. Use sun meditation. Stabilize and relax your body. Regulate your breathing through Dantian breathing so that your emotions become calm and still. And with that stability comes a quiet inner confidence. And along with that relaxation of the body and peace of the emotions, we achieve mental clarity, acute mental clarity without the stress of anxiety or nervousness. And with our perceptual ability enhanced in that way, look as deeply within yourself as possible, because this is the most important question of our lives. Look deep within and see, what do you see there? Do you really see just nothing, just flesh and blood and genetics and organic processes? Or do you see something luminously aware? What we call Buddha nature in Buddhism. Something awake, something that knows and sees and can act. I personally believe that every human being in the world is a genius. I personally believe that every human being is perfect the way that they are. I don't believe that I'm being overly idealistic or unrealistic. I, along with my students, have often gone in the past to work with extraordinarily challenged orphans who physically they can't walk, they can't sit up, they can't wash themselves, they can't go to the bathroom by themselves. Mentally, they can't talk, they can't hold your attention. There's almost no possibility of social interaction with them. But if you spend time with them, you begin to realize that nonetheless, they are human. They see, they know, they feel, they perceive, they recognize. The entire range of human experience is somehow present within them, even though it seems like nature has so cruelly robbed them of so many of their abilities. And after a time with them, you will find that you learn more from them and you gain more from them than they will ever gain from you. And you begin to see in some strange paradoxical way that they too were created perfect. And if those who are considered the most unfortunate in our society have been created perfect, then maybe we too are perfect. And maybe each of us is perfect in our own unique way, and the challenge in our lives is for each of us to discover our own secret, unique, and original perfection. I believe that this is what Sun Master Songdam is trying to share with us if we put it into modern terms. What he always tells us is to believe that I am Buddha, that we are Buddha. So why don't we try this for ourselves right here and now? Once again, assume correct meditation posture. Right here and now, engage Dantian breathing. Let's enter into sun meditation together once again. So breathe in Pause. And then as you breathe out, as you ask yourself, 무엇이고, direct your attention inward toward its own source. Ignore all other thoughts and feelings, all mental imagery in your mind. Just let it all flow by. Forget everything. Forget the past. Forget all of your regrets, all of your worries, everything. Become completely empty in your mind and just look within. And as we look within, maybe we can experiment, maybe we can think about, maybe we can truly consider, maybe I really am Buddha. Why don't we say it out loud to ourselves with sincerity? So repeat after me. Breathe in, pause, and then with utter sincerity and conviction, say out loud, I am Buddha. Again, inhale, pause. Once again, I really am Buddha. How does that feel? Don't you feel something awakening? Don't you feel a new kind of possibility? Maybe I don't know all there is to know about myself. Maybe I need to reconsider my own identity and how I choose to define my own limits and possibilities. And this brings us to the next Sun Buddhist teaching that I would like to share with you in the interest of discovering our hidden potential. And that is the Sun teaching of beginner's mind. I have shared this teaching on this program before, but let's go deeper this time. Engage your meditation. Allow all thoughts and feelings and mental activity to fall away. Look deep within and try to attain beginner's mind. Imagine that you're a child. You know nothing. You are beginning life all over again. You are more than a child. You are the first human being in history. You are that first primordial human being coming out into the world, looking at the sky for the first time, looking at the moon for the first time, looking at the sun for the first time. You don't even have words to describe them, no concepts. It's just pure experience. There's forest around you. There are the sounds of other living beings. There is the feel of the wind on you, the sound of water, the feel of earth below me, and it is all completely new, completely mysterious, completely wondrous, and completely miraculous. This is what it means to enter into beginner's mind in this very moment. Look at anything in the world, anything, no matter how trivial or mundane. Take away the label. You can look at a tree. Forget the word tree. Forget the definition tree. Just observe the tree in naked, open silence with a naked, open heart. And allow that tree to reveal itself to you, and you will see something completely amazing. You will see how the tree sways mysteriously in the wind. And somehow that swaying teaches us some secret order or law of the universe. And if you look at that tree long enough, in this quiet silence, in this completely empty state of beginner's mind, it will start to feel like the tree is also looking at you. That the tree possesses its own intelligence. That the tree is a creature that lives far longer than us and has an ancient intelligence. This is just one example. You could look at a plastic cup or an empty can of soda or a crumpled piece of paper or an empty plastic bag on the street, and if you look long enough, you will see something amazing. You will see reality expressing itself, manifesting itself. You will see existence itself. This is the way to begin any endeavor in life. If you want to if you want to grow, if you want to transform yourself, if you want to develop yourself, first, you must have the conviction that human beings have infinite potential. This will give you courage and inspiration, and then you must forget everything that you have ever known. Forget every single word that you know, every piece of information that you know, and just observe, just experience the raw experience of life itself. This is beginner's mind, and if you try it, you will experience a life-changing way of living. All of your life and the entire world and you yourself will become something completely new again, completely reborn. And this is something that I believe that so many of us seek out, and this is just the beginning. The next thing that I would like to recommend in our search to develop and grow is the Buddhist concept of humbleness or humility. Now, I will once again share this in Korean. It's called hashim. Ha means it means below. It also means to lower, and shim means mind. So literally translated, it would mean lower your mind. Lower your opinions, your thoughts, put them all down. Most importantly, put down your pride, your vanity, your worry about what other people might think. We must have a willingness to make mistakes, to experience failure, to be defeated. We must be able to courageously experiment with new possibilities if we are able to learn anything new in life. The American theoretical physicist and Nobel laureate Frank Wilczek has said, if you don't make mistakes, then you're not working on hard enough problems, and that's a big mistake. If you find yourself in a situation where you're consistently doing a good job on everything, it means that you're not trying anything new. It means that you are relying on the skills and talents and knowledge that you've developed in the past. In other words, you're not growing at all, and you're not developing at all. You're just staying still as time passes. And so Dr. Wilczek tells us that's a big mistake that we will regret. We must be willing to make mistakes. We must be willing to endure failure. We must be able to do this publicly in front of others, knowing that there will always be people who look down on us for that, who insult us for that, or who try to take advantage of us for revealing what seems to be a personal weakness. I think that every single one of us has probably had an experience in life where there was someone around us who disrespected us and dismissed us and looked down on us and publicly humiliated us. And this experience was so painful that from then on, we never wanted to repeat it again. From then on, we began to be very careful in front of other people about the things that we do. From then on, we always had a feeling that you don't want to really try something in front of other people unless you know you can do it. Now, psychologists call this the practice of shaming. To make someone very, very embarrassed about themselves, to make someone appalled and ashamed about themselves, to control their behavior. And I think that especially in modern-day Korea, but also in all societies around the world, there is a practice of shaming. That when someone makes a bad mistake, or is defeated, or fails at something, that then therefore it's allowed that we can make fun of them and disrespect them and publicly embarrass them and so forth. For, the world loves a winner. The world loves winners. And, but the truth is that the world, if you're a winner, the world will only love you for as long as you win. And on the day that you stop winning, the world will no longer love you. Now, I don't think that this has always been true. I remember that when I was growing up, there was an idea of the beautiful loser. There was even a very famous song called that. There was a novel, The Old Man and the Sea, written by the American, that celebrated the endeavor of this fictional character, this old man who rows out into the ocean to go fishing and is faced with the greatest challenge of his life, and he ends up a loser. And Hemingway, we believe, was trying to tell us that there is something more noble in losing, in failure. The truth is, nobody really wins at life. no matter how smart you are, no matter how strong and healthy you are, no matter how talented and fortunate you are, you will grow old. And through injury or illness, we will all die. There is no winning in life. There is only losing. But how we face that losing will determine the kind of inner beauty and dignity and truthfulness that we possess. And I think that in the past, we recognize this. Winners have always been loved, but losers were not always looked down upon, because every single one of us has felt like a loser at one point or another in their lives, if only for a moment. I remember I had this conversation with this American Buddhist monk who I have great respect and affection for in the United States. And this monk told me, sort of laughing, this monk said to me in a conversation, "You know that you and I are the biggest losers. You know, us monks, us meditators, we're the biggest losers because we couldn't live like other people. Having a job, having a family, and doing the 9 to 5 and the routine of daily life, we were overwhelmed by that. We're the biggest losers, and so we had to find another way. We had to come out and look at us. We're such ridiculous people." And I remember hearing that and just laughing and thinking, yes, that's true. We are misfits, we don't fit in, and we are losers. But I don't think that that's a bad thing. And I think that anyone who is trying to grow, anyone who is trying to develop themselves to get past a personal setback ought to know that there is beauty in being a loser. Every single one of us is in some sense a beautiful loser, a lovely failure, and a sublime mistake in the grand order of things. We must embrace this with great dignity and self-respect as we try to grow. I'm not saying that you shouldn't try to win. I'm not saying that you shouldn't try to succeed. I'm not saying that you should not overcome the challenges that we face. Of course we should try hard and as hard as we can. Of course we should. But we must also have that humbleness, that hashim inside, put down our pride and know that at the end of the day, no human being beats the universe. At the end of the day, we too are absorbed back into the universe, that there is a higher principle beyond us and above us, and our frail human bodies and minds, although they are infinite, are also impermanent. So this is something that I very much want to recommend so that we can have the courage to struggle and strive and make mistakes in front of others. And yes, people will make fun of us, and no, you can't pretend that you don't care what people think about, because all people care about what other people think about. And so it will be painful at times, but if you keep trying with beginner's mind, with all of your pride and thoughts and opinions put down in the state of humbleness, then I guarantee you one day you will find within yourself the blossoming of a new talent, of a new way of looking at things, a new way of doing things. And this talent will not have a name. It will not fall into a category that we already know. It's not like learning how to play guitar or learning how to cook Indian food. It's something totally new. It's something totally your own. And then people will begin to see it. And they'll begin to see that something new has been born within you. I guarantee that this will happen if you're able to have the humbleness, to have the beginner's mind, to suffer through the initial mistakes and failures and stumblings. Then this new thing will be born within you, and you will begin to see the awakening of your true potential, the awakening of your unique perfection. Once again, let's achieve proper meditation posture, enter into sun meditation, and once again listen to the Dharma teachings of Sun Master Songdam.
정말 참선 입으로 하면서도 싫다고 참선하는 것은 그렇게 쉬운 일이 아닙니다. 겉으로 턱 목에다 힘을 주고 눈을 감았다 떴다 한다고 해서 그것이 올바른 참선이라고 할 수가 없어. 겉으로는 제법 죽비를 치면은 1시간, 2시간, 심지어는 4시간씩 앉아서 버틴다고 해서 그분이 꼭 참선을 올바르게 하고 있느냐? 그건 아무도 모르는 일이고 참선이라고 하는 것이 형태에 걸려 있는 것이 아니다 그 말이에요. 염무령 생각하되 생각 없이 생각하며 말하되 말한 바 없이 말하며 닦되 닦은 바 없이 닦으며 증하되 증한 바 없이 증할지니 닦은 바 없이 닦으며 증한 바 없이 증한다고 한 말씀이 무슨 말씀이냐고 말이에요. 이것이 바로 활구참선의 소식이 아니냐고 말이에요. 알 수 없는 의단이 동로하도록 잡두리 하되 내가 지금 공부를 잘하고 있다. 그런 생각을 가져서는 아니 된다고. 자세를 바르게 하고 호흡을 바르게 하면서 알 수 없는 의단이 동로하도록 화두를 참고해 나간다면 이것이 바로 밖으로 얻은 바가 없고 안으로 구한 바가 없고 도에도 얽매이지 않고 생각도 없으며 지은 바도 없으며 닦되 닦은 바가 없고 증하되 증한 바가 없이 이것을 바로 바르게 도를 닦는 것이라 한 것이다.
In this Dharma speech, Sun Master Songdam has shared a teaching that I heard for the first time on the day that I received my monastic precepts, when I first became a Buddhist monk. On that day, we had a ceremony for the giving of the precepts. And he said to us, me and my Dharma brothers who were also receiving the precepts on the same day, he said to us, this is the teaching that I want to give to you. And he said, when you practice and when you live, think with no thought, practice with no practice, cultivate with no cultivation, and finally awaken with no awakening. And because he had said to us that he was specifically giving this teaching to us, I have always held that teaching in my heart for all the years that I have been a Buddhist monk. I always return to it, I always remember it and cherish it in my own heart. And I have thought about it and tried to put it into action as much as I can over the years. I think that Sun Master Songdam was trying to teach us about what's called in English no mind. This no mind does not mean that you're mindless. It means that you are not attached to your mental content. Your thoughts, your emotions, the imagery in your mind, the voices you hear in your head, all of those things, you're not paying attention to them. You're not becoming mentally attached to them. Instead, in sun meditation, you direct your attention inward toward its own source. You don't direct your attention to your thoughts. You direct your attention to the source, the invisible source of your thoughts deep within. This is what we do when we ask ourselves, Imoko, what is this? What is this thing deep within? This experiencer, this creator of thoughts and emotions. And when we do that, Sun Master Songdam taught us, we automatically achieve this so-called state of no mind. We are automatically able to think with no thought, cultivate with no cultivation, and ultimately awaken with no awakening. It is a profound and paradoxical teaching. At the time, I thought that when he taught that to us, that he was teaching us the proper way to meditate. And it took a long time before I began to truly realize that he wasn't just teaching us a technique of meditation. He was, in fact, I believe, teaching us how to live. That when we live, we ought to live with no mind. When we think, we ought to think with no thought. When we do, we ought to do with no doing. When we awaken, we must awaken with no awakening. Now, what I mean by that is that all things that we do in life become easier and we become more effective and efficient when we engage sun meditation in the actual performance of that act. We actually engage sun meditation, we ask ourselves, Imoko, we raise the doubt, and automatically the state of no mind is produced. And in that state, we find that we will do the things we do much better than we did before. It is a very, very mysterious thing. It's difficult to understand with your head. You have to put it into action. But what you begin to realize is that this so-called no mind is the source, the true source of all originality, all creativity, all human beauty, and all human authenticity. And I'll give you an example of how that works. As I've mentioned in the past, I've been going to universities in Seoul for quite some time now, and when I do, recently I've begun to drive. So I'm driving back and forth from Seoul, and it can be tiring because I have to drive sometimes close to 2 hours to get there and then almost another 2 hours to come back. And so I'm worried about being too tired, and I'm also worried about getting into an accident because I'm driving all the time. So I got into the practice of listening to Sun Master Songdam's Dharma speeches as I drive, and I wanted to learn how to meditate while driving. Initially, I was worried whether this was even possible because driving is so complicated and you have to obviously pay attention to what's going on the road. And if I'm just sitting there focused on Imoko, I was worried that I might get into an accident. So I was a little bit nervous about this. But nonetheless, because I have had experience in meditating, I began to meditate more and more as I drove, and I learned through experience that it actually made me drive much, not only more safely, but also more efficiently. Even though I wasn't going faster, I was actually saving time. It's hard to describe, but when you enter into sun meditation, you enter into the state of doubt and the state of no mind that is produced. You discover something quite extraordinary. You discover that the human mind can know without thinking, can feel without emotion. There is a whole other level, a whole other way of perceiving and knowing and acting and observing and experiencing life. And when you know this, when you feel it for the first time, it will completely transform the way you live and the way you do things. And this, I believe, is the secret to discovering our human potential. I don't think it's a good idea, as so many students do these days, to go out and try to get one more skill, another language to learn, another instrument that they know how to play, another sport that they know how to do. These are all skills and talents that other people have already invented. And what I would like to ask the people, our viewers, is that you can discover your own unique talents and abilities and skills for which there are no words. You are the only one who will know what it is. You will become the inventor of it. But if you want to do that, you must be willing to suffer mistakes and failures and defeats. You must be willing, you must have the courage to enter into that naked state of beginner's mind, that humble state of Hashim, and that very, very mysterious and infinite state that my teacher calls no mind. So this is what I would like to share with you, and especially the students who asked me to do an episode on this topic. Go beyond picking up trivial skills. Go beyond looking to do things to impress other people. Find what's really hiding inside of you. Awaken the Buddha that lives within you. This is what I would like to recommend and offer to you through the teachings of my teacher, Sun Master Songdam. This brings us now to the end of another episode. I hope you found this helpful. And once again, I will thank all of our viewers for watching tonight's program. And I will conclude with the traditional Buddhist greeting. May we all attain enlightenment.